Hello everyone, welcome back to the Greenland Review. Today we're going to be going over the Batman. This is going to be very spoiler heavy. I just need, you guys can talk. You don't have to like, talk. Yeah, whatever, it doesn't matter. It'll be very spoiler heavy, so if you haven't seen it, that's on you. I don't know why you're still here. Anyways, so first things first, overall view on the movie itself. What do you all have to say about it? I'll give my input afterwards.
Honestly, I really liked it, especially because it was like a longer movie.
Speak up, Mia.
Honestly,
yeah, you should.
We should introduce ourselves first.
Yeah.
I'm joined with a few friends. It's usually other people online who do this kind of stuff, but today it is some of the friends. So introduce yourselves, please.
My name is Jaden. I'm a friend of Grant's.
You might want to speak up.
You might hear me. My name is Jaden. I'm here today. Give my opinions of the movie. Watch the movie.
Like overall rating. Don't go too far into it. But
I'm just saying, if you watched it this past Friday, it's pretty fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I want to give an initial rating like a 8.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Yes, that is very fair. Before you go, I don't really agree with the audience score. Like at all. Well, no, I don't agree with the critic score. The Rotten Tomato score. But I do agree with it. The Rotten Tomato score, if I remember, it's like a 91. Yeah. But for the critics, it's actually an 85 right now, which I don't fully agree with, like, at all. Okay. So, all right, anyways, your turn. Go, Mia. Go.
Okay. My name is Mia. I was also there when they watched the movie. Overall, I give it a solid 8 out of 10. I don't watch many movies, but it was pretty good. And for it being like 3 hours long, it didn't feel like why am I still here?
Right. I mean, overall, in my opinion, it doesn't beat out The Dark Knight. But
no, it doesn't. But
in itself, The Dark Knight was more of a villains-centered type film, while this movie, The Batman, was focused more around Batman and how he deals with villains and basically Gotham as a whole. And I genuinely loved how they went about doing it, because more times than not, the Batman movies that we've seen don't really capitalize on that as much as they should. Whilst you think they've made 6 different reboots for this goddamn thing. But overall, hopefully DC doesn't screw this up, but I feel like they have some potential here. And with what they've made, they have a nice clear path ahead of them if they don't screw it up, which, knowing DC, they will do it if given the chance. So first things first, let's talk about acting, pacing, plot twists, story, all the good stuff. I guess I'll start off with the acting aspect. Me being an actor myself, genuinely, with all these good actors like Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz, I believe, everything about this movie in terms of acting was just there. They didn't really rely very much on comedy, as much as most people would think, kind of like with kind of The Dark Knight, yeah, but not from Batman's perspective. It was more of from the Joker's perspective, but he was just a psychomaniac, so I guess that kind of made sense. But the limited comedy in this movie was fantastic, and it actually flowed with the story itself. But they mainly focused on the dark and gritty aspect of it, and I think that is what Batman is meant to be. And, The Dawn of Justice, the movie we don't talk about, at all, did a shit job at that. And there's really no way around that. That whole franchise as a whole is terrible, but, I mean, I did like how they went about doing that. You want to talk about cinematography? Well, I'll talk about cinematography. Go about plot and story.
Well, I want to continue on what you were talking about with characters.
Okay.
I felt like this Batman movie did something that the DC universe is really not really doing a very good job of. And it's more focused on the characters' actions rather than their just being dialogue of oh, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about things, but then we're not gonna actually show y'all what the characters are actually doing as because actions speak more than words for me.
Yeah.
I
think the Riddler did that.
The Riddler
did that
was
perfectly.
a prime example of it. You could have just been oh, the Riddler's murdering all these people, but they actually showed you hey, this is what he did when he murdered people. It shows you the whole scene of him actually committing the crimes. And stuff.
I really like that we got to unfold it as Batman unfolded it, and not oh, we know what's already happening, and so when it actually like came to time to like find out what was happening, we were like, whoa.
And I also want to add that every single scene was in there for a reason. It wasn't just some pointless scene, even though, if I remember correctly, Robert was in every single scene in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, he needed to. I mean,
it's called the Batman movie.
He's the Batman.
Well.
And that was one thing. It was more focused on the Batman and less focused on Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
It was actually,
I really liked it.
I feel like honestly, he was. You could see his face covered more than you actually see his face.
Exactly. And the fact that they don't show Bruce Wayne as being the like you said yesterday when we talked about it, being the millionaire. Obviously, he is, but he's not. It's not really capitalized on. It just said, oh yeah. Here's the Prince of Gotham and whatnot. But they only used Bruce whenever absolutely necessary.
Yeah. When it was useful for Batman.
Literally useful. Yeah, that's the only way. Because obviously alter ego, nobody knows. And then
when the Riddler was like, "This is like your true face as Batman, bro," I was like, "That was."
It was a foil.
Yeah.
It was a foil. Like the part where he's just like he starts saying his name and like the undertone and starts singing. I'm like, everybody got fooled by that.
Yeah.
Literally everybody. It was a foil, and none of it was like. Oh shit! It was great, but back to the acting aspect. Colin Farrell as I think Penguin. There's a few good castings that I've seen. You know, like Tony Stark as Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, or I wouldn't say Tom Holland as Spider-Man, right? No, that really wouldn't.
I find I liked him as Spider-Man.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like him as the Penguin was actually super good. That was a great casting. And the fact that they allude towards... Actually, I don't want to go to that yet. We'll get to that eventually. I don't want to do that. But Zoe Kravitz, bro. Mommy? Sorry.
I think she was casted really well. I really liked her as Catwoman.
You know, she did a phenomenal job too. Like the one-liners that she had at times, also good. The whole 9 Lives thing, I thoroughly love that.
I liked her acting, but I felt like her character, like, drive was
convoluted.
Yes,
very perfect, convoluted.
Yes, it made sense, but sometimes she was doing things that were like out of character, and that really had me like questioning, like, why is she doing that?
Exactly. I mean, like, obviously she wanted to quote unquote help Batman, but she had her own agenda in the process, so that's why she helped him. And then
like she had her own separate motives that just aligned.
The whole like romantic aspect too. I was really not understanding that because I was just like
it was there but not there.
Yeah.
You know, you feel it but you don't really, because I don't think they really wanted to go towards the romantic route. They wanted to go down the obviously dark, gritty, grounded type.
Yeah,
I actually like that they didn't put a big emphasis on like the romantic chemistry, because I feel like it's really easy to do that in like hero movies, like hero. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, based on the feel of the movie, if they go and do other ones, which I know they will, they have to keep that same energy because I mean. Excuse me. If they go and start doing like the romantic stuff, it kind of just takes away from it, because you're like, okay, well, where was this in the first movie? It was so good, but like.
Well, I felt like honestly, now I think about it more, the romantic aspect, even though it kind of is weird in the movie, it kind of adds on to the end where it's like Batman like is sacrificing like having a normal life to be the Batman.
I'll protect the city, baby. Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah. So.
Women it.
You're right.
All right, back to Paul Dano as the Riddler.
That was
bro. Okay, so I'm gonna stay on the actors aspect for some time until we move on, but I just have to get this out of the way. Paul Dano, even though his acting was so fantastic as the Riddler, it doesn't stack up to the Joker of Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
But it's its own. Don't get it twisted. It's its own thing. All right, because it's a different genre from The Dark Knight to this, and a lot of people love to compare the two, but as I said before, it's two different genres. One's very dark and grounded, the other one is more faced towards the villains, and then his is faced towards the Batman itself. So, while both are great, you know, as a villain, even though it comes close, Heath Ledger still has that on him, but that's not to discredit, forget his name, Paul Dano's acting as the Riddler, because it was fantastic. So.
Something we talked about yesterday was that he like looked like a regular guy. He wasn't like, oh, he's a villain that you could clearly point out in a crowd. And I like that too, that he was just like, you didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, he really had like a serial killer like
motive, or like
because you know serial killers, like we think of like, oh, it's a big bad guy, but really it could be like normal Joe Schmo guy, which was like what Paul Dano
was
like, going for. Yeah, like as when they casted him, and he did like a fantastic job.
Well, like what he said, it's like you're all the brawn, I'm all the brains. You did it for me.
Yeah.
It was like,
I thought it was so funny. He was like, I'm not strong. You had to do that for me.
When he said that, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, it makes sense. He's not just being like, oh, because, like, the Joker, he didn't have the motive for being crazy. He's just like, I want to be chaotic. And I'm like, okay, that's it works for his character. But, like, that's not the Riddler. The Riddler is a smart guy. He's just like,
He's tactical with how he uses Batman.
He's like, the reason that I was, like, playing with you is not because I wanted you to know what was going on. It's because I wanted to use you. And I thought you knew I was using you.
But I guess you're not as bright as I thought you were.
Yeah,
exactly.
So. Yeah.
But then, one of the castings that I don't really like was Andy Serkis as Alfred. I feel like Alfred is like, he's supposed to be old, right? But he's still supposed to be able to kick ass, because in the comics, he beats the shit out of Superman, so it's kind of like, I don't know. It has to grow on me, but for right now, I'm not really vibing with it. The acting for him was also really good, but I don't know.
He didn't have as much screen time.
Yeah,
but then again, it wasn't focused around him.
Yeah, he didn't get as much importance as, like, in The Dark Knight. Yeah,
because Alfred had 3 movies, and he was much more prevalent.
Yeah.
And he honestly was probably, like, my favorite Alfred of every Batman.
Right, yeah. That's true. And then, okay, so let's talk about cinematography, right, bro? There are so many shots in this movie that hold so much power.
Yes.
Like, for one, let's talk about, we talked about it yesterday, the upside down fire scene after Penguin crashes.
Trailer,
That right there, something about that, dude. It's just so powerful as to show off Batman in all of his entirety. It's like, you fuck with me, see what's gonna happen. It's just how that works. And, not only that, the different scenes of the rain, out in the rain, Gotham as a whole, showing it in all its entirety, showing how dark and gloomy that Gotham is. I think they really capitalized on that to help push the narrative of the story that is this Batman movie. And I don't know, I don't think I could have done it any better. Me being a cinematography student myself, I was I was moaning in my seat of how great it was. It was fantastic. Also, another scene that I thoroughly liked was the car scene right before he went. And we'll talk about the car in a second. I had my thoughts on this, but
are they still the same as last night?
It's the same as last night, my guy.
I agree.
It's the same as last night. But the rev up scene, that has to be fantastic, because I've been seeing that all over social media today. It's like, this is the best scene in the entire movie. This shit was gas. It was good. No, and the chase scene as a whole was really great. Even though Penguin was not a primary villain, he was still a quote unquote pawn, as was stated by Falcone. Like, you're just a pawn in this game for me, but he was a pawn in terms of a villain. And in the whole grand scheme of the villains that are in this movie, Riddler being the main one, and just seeing that, it really, what's the word? Exasperates. I'm just trying to use big words to make it sound like I know what I'm saying. It really plays towards the character and how you can keep people entertained with different aspects of different characters and how they all play along. So. There's that.
Talk about the opening scene, bro.
Oh yeah, the opening scene.
That was good.
Those scenes, especially when they show. I don't know if you want to talk about it. I could talk about it, but so the parts where it's the bat sign goes on and he's narrating it, because I don't think we haven't had any Batman that narrates
his movie.
It narrates his movies.
Yeah, I don't think Christian Bale narrated.
I don't even think Michael Keaton did. As weird as that sounds, but. Yeah, the opening scene where they show the bat signal and they see these villains or these criminals looking in the dark, thinking that he's going to be there. Yeah. So he's already striked fear into these people. He's been doing this for some time, as it stated in the first 2 minutes of the film.
He was like, "I am the shadow."
Yeah, literally, I am the shadow. I am vengeance.
Bro, I'm everywhere.
Yeah, literally, and it gives you that sense of dread in terms of what Gotham is and how people feel because of how dark and gritty, as I keep saying, what this movie is. And Robert Pattinson as Batman really personified what Batman is meant to be in terms of dealing with depression and all these issues that he's gone through as a child. Hell, even watching his parents get murdered right in front of him, and he's like, damn, that's crazy.
Like like this Batman is like if Batman actually had mental issues, which he should have, because it's like
you don't just bounce back from being an orphan.
Christian Bale's just like, yeah, I'm cool, I got money, but it's like my parents are dead though. Like,
and the Riddler makes that known. He's
yeah.
Like, you had all this money, but the sins of your father fall on you. It's like, bro, what did I do? What did I do?
I was chilling, man.
I didn't even do nothing. You watched them die. I'm like, and what was what was I supposed to do about that? The fuck? Okay, so we talked about did we talk about pacing?
Not yet. We're talking about cinematography still.
Okay,
shots.
So we're on the shots. Other than cinematography, I'm just gonna make it as blunt as possible. Cinematography is fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Watch the movie if you want to see some more cinematography.
Yeah, if you want to see more cinematography, if you're a cinematography student, you're gonna be busting like crazy. Just putting that out there. So yeah, the cinematography was great, and as usual. Pacing. What do you have to say about pacing? I feel like I'm talking too much.
I feel like.
What do you think?
I feel like the pacing was like pretty well, but there is some like spots in the movie that were like too convenient, like the carpet thing. Like, suddenly now it's relevant. Like this is really fitting. So it wasn't like bad or anything. The pacing was really well, but it was just some of those convenient moments there.
I felt like the pacing was good. I felt like the middle was a little long, like the second half. Like it was kind of dragging out a little bit. Mm-hmm. But besides that, I feel like I didn't really feel like if you watch Avengers Endgame, that's a 3-hour movie. Mm-hmm. And certain parts you're like, oh my god, what's like? Can we get over this? But I feel like in this movie, like like he said earlier, like Grant said earlier, every scene had purpose. Well, almost every scene had purpose, and like it wasn't just there to just be there. Like, oh, it was like a fan fiction, like, oh my god, no. It was anything like that. It was actually like serving purpose to drive the story forward. Mm-hmm. So,
and I feel like Riddler's riddles really obviously played a part in this, because I mean, like, you can't really be Riddler if you don't got riddles. It kind of makes sense. And him, like, Batman fighting them, and how other characters that didn't have a big role played a part in all of this, and played like a huge part in the whole grand scheme of the story, really played towards the narrative of the story itself. And I genuinely loved how that all just happened. Even though, again, as Mia said, it dragged out in some parts, but that's only because, like, while it's not the best way to progress the story, it still plays a part in it in some way, shape, or form. And I think, like I said, or as Jaden said about me, every scene had a purpose, even if it was dragged out. You got some piece of information for the story out of each scene in some way, shape, or form. And that was what was fantastic about it. What else? Okay, so we had pacing. Oh, did we talk about story?
Yeah. No.
Plot and story. Okay. What did y'all think about the plot? I thought the plot was pretty solidified, even though obviously the plot was some murder mystery. You're not going to know who it is. I mean, you kind of do know who it is. He kind of literally announces, he's like, hey guys, what's up guys? It's Scarce here. I got 500 followers.
I felt like, we just like, I'm going to backtrack a little bit when we were talking about pacing. The pacing between like the action and like the murder mystery aspect was like great. I didn't feel like, oh my god, we're still like trying to investigate.
I don't think either were drawn out too long to the point where you're like, this is unnecessary.
Because there were really only like 3 or 4 like major action scenes I think going on, but like they were spaced out evenly to where you were just like, okay, like you get your little adrenaline, but like, okay, it's time to get like, what are we doing?
Get serious back to the main story, trying to get that.
So back to the story. We're talking about story, right?
Yeah, we're talking about story and plot itself. That's what we're talking about.
I felt like the story was really good. It felt like it was like a more modern kind of like adaptation of what would be happening. Because in the old Batman,
basically New York City if they had no morals.
Yeah. New York City right now. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it was more modern because the old Batman's like they were Batman's like super futuristic, but it was kind of like made in
something
made a long time ago. So it's been over like 15 years. And so this one's kind of more accurate. Like you have like, he's actually like using social media to like get followers instead of just being on the streets. So
right.
That makes sense. But
no, that makes sense.
I also like that he wasn't like super dependent on his gadgets.
Yes.
Like yes, he's rich and yes, he has access to like good technology, but that's not.
I have to disagree with that.
Really?
It's a Batman. He's supposed to have gadgets. He's supposed to use more.
No.
I feel like he has realistic stuff he can get.
Yeah.
access
That's true,
to.
but like,
That's-
what all he ever used was like the harpoon gun. He never used his belt. Like, I don't even think he had a belt, did he?
He had a couple gadgets on his belt.
I mean, he pulled like that one adrenaline thing and shot himself in the leg and was like,
Testosterone.
Okay, some other stuff too. It came from He had
You know, he had
two
that little
grappling
thing in his
guns.
chest.
He had the Batman.
yeah, the
Batarang.
one batarang. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well,
I had more than that. But
honestly, because the Dark Knight really didn't use that many batarangs. Think about it. He didn't throw one batarang in the whole.
That's
movie.
true.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you sure he didn't throw one?
He didn't throw one batarang the whole movie. He used gadgets. He used.
Yeah.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Batman's not Batman without his gadgets. I mean,
I
obviously you
agree
got
with
his
that.
smarts, but like, also, do you think he used a lot of his smarts in this? Because like, all
I
he
feel
did was
like-
just solve riddles. That's
I
the
feel
one thing I
like-
didn't like.
I feel like this Batman isn't like smart as in like educated.
Okay.
I feel like he's more of just like, hey, I can put two together really
Yeah.
quickly. I
okay.
feel like he's street smart.
Which is important for the Riddler.
Yeah, because he's really just like, you're not that smart. Because he's like he probably knows that he's not like a genius, but like,
Yeah.
he can understand what like.
But he knows enough to actually.
Yeah,
Right. I don't know.
So that's why he has to depend on Alfred because Alfred is actually like educated and smart.
Right.
He's been in a cave, depressed because his parents have been I'm pretty sure he didn't go to college.
I'm pretty sure he
Orphan
did.
syndrome.
Damn. I don't know how it goes in the comics. I'm not an avid DC or Batman reader, as some people on social media. God, some people just they deride the crap out of
Like,
Batman, dude. So much thick shit. So they'll do that, but I feel like the way they have it, maybe it's because, and I'm just gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, because they're starting a new series with it. He doesn't have the amount of sparks that he should have just yet. But then again, I don't know. It could be completely different, and it all comes down to what they decide they want to do.
Well, I feel like the guy just because the movie's already really long, so if you had to like, because in like the Dark Knight, they had to like insert like parts like, oh, look at these new gadgets we have. I feel like that would add like a little unnecessary time to the movie.
Yeah.
Going over the new stuff.
That's true.
He did have some cool stuff. He had the wingsuit, even though,
He got bodied by a bridge.
which is realistic though.
Also,
it's like this.
But another thing I think that contributes to like him not like using his gadgets so much is that the Riddler isn't like an aggressive one. He's not gonna come
Aggressive
to you
as
and
he brutally murders
Yeah,
somebody.
he's aggressive, but you get what I mean. Like he sits in the back room while planning this all out, but he's not like up front with attacking Batman. So it's not like he has to
Mhm.
actively
He mentally
continuously
attacks him.
fight.
He does it psychologically.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
So he doesn't have to like optimize on his gadgets if the only people he's fighting is like thug security. You get me?
It's
I
true.
feel like also like the less gadgets kind of makes Batman have to be more creative in how he solves solutions.
Right.
So he can't just storm in there every time and like try to like manhandle everybody. He has to be like, oh, it's time to be Bruce Wayne and go undercover
Right.
and
Yeah.
get this information.
Which I think contributes to like how Jaden was saying makes him more relatable. Like it's realistic. He's a person that isn't like, oh wow, some superhero, but he's someone like you could see this happening.
I feel like I had something in mind, but I don't remember what I was gonna say. The fact that they didn't make this Batman like invincible. Every single Batman we've seen, he like against Superman, like there's no way he should have won that fight. But like in that one, apparently he just can't die or something like that. But in this one, he gets one pump to the chest and he's almost
Close to
down and
death.
out for the count.
Yeah.
It makes Batman realistic, and a lot of people seem to like forget that in terms of, especially people who like follow the comics. They just like, oh, but if Batman got prep time, it's like, no, that's not how that shit works.
because this shit
bro.
just starts happening. He
Because
has
at the
to
end of the
solve
day,
it.
he's still human.
Yeah.
Exactly, he's still human. He even though in the comics he has contingency plans for things, that doesn't mean it's always going to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Like it's going to go completely different, but he can't account for that. So, I do like how that played out as a whole, but
like this Batman right here, he's not mentally sound at all. So like you wouldn't think he's like, oh, I have all these plans to like solve these problems.
He's struggling.
Yeah, he's
going
mad.
through it.
He struggles to remember what happened like the night these people up. He's like, all right, I gotta write this down real quick. So I
it's
can
because
remember.
Gotham is like screwed him up in the head so
Yeah.
much
Yeah,
to
so
the
you
point
can-
where you can't.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they took that into account. They're not like, oh yeah, homie bounced back every night.
Every
He's
night, he's
ready.
good.
Yeah, he's
You
just
know?
like, oh.
He's
my
like, anyways.
God.
Damn.
Yeah, you can see him struggling.
He's doing. He's Mr. Stark. I don't feel so good.
Aw.
So let's talk about costumes, bro. I thought costumes were pretty good. Originally with the Riddler, he's got like the question mark green suit on and everything. Got like the bowler
Jim
hat and
Carrey,
everything.
bro, that was fly. What are you
My dude was dripping back then, but here, they got a more modern look to it and kind of looks serial killer-y, as it's supposed to be. And I don't know. I thoroughly liked how they went for a more modern look. Same thing with the Batman. You know, obviously, you know, you've got the spikes on the end of the wrists and whatnot. But this time he didn't have that. He just had like I wouldn't say it's a wrap, but more of a
like a cuff.
it's a gadget type thing where it comes out and like there's a knife and whatnot or something. But the one, as I said this yesterday, the one that I did not like was Black Cat.
Just her face mask was like, what?
Yeah, the face mask was pretty.
Yeah, the bodysuit was alright.
The costume was just like a motorcycle suit, like a motorcycle.
Yeah,
and it was like,
it's just leather.
But yeah, her mask
face
was like,
mask. Yeah.
I'm like, that's not doing anything for you.
Zoe, that's not doing nothing for you.
It's just
Come
like
on
a
now.
cut ski mask.
You probably should have just done no mask.
Ski mask, the slump guy.
But she takes it off a lot too, so like no mask could have been an option.
That's true.
And then if they needed her to have a mask on, she could just like put her motorcycle helmet on.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And I don't know why, but I remember that like Batman doesn't get his intel from like different security cameras or shit. All he does is like he actually goes out and stakes out people. He does that. So
he's a hands-on man.
I guess that also plays towards him being
low tech.
Yeah, low key, low tech, and like
because in the Dark Knight they use that phone thing to like, project whatever. You know.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember what else I was gonna say. I was gonna say something else about that. Makes him Batman, you know, just doing that, being able to stake things out, and I don't know. It's weird. Now some things I didn't like about this movie. The part where Batman punches the shit out of that one cop, and everyone chases his ass outside the building, and then this next scene after, everyone's chill with him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's cool or whatever. Yeah. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, they didn't even explain that. It's like, you literally assaulted an officer. Okay, I guess you're like, good.
Okay, how you doing, homie?
I'm pretty sure it's kind of like, oh, we don't want our shit knocked in, you know? So I guess we just won't mess with him. But I'm like, all right.
I mean, if the guy who got punched isn't mad, then I'm not mad either.
That's so dumb. Also, the lack of what is it, dialogue in this movie really kind of did it justice in a sense. I know there was a few monologues here and there, but overall they weren't like the monologues had substance to them. They literally personified not only the Riddler but the Batman as a whole and other characters who I do not remember had monologues, but whoever did, the monologues itself really did it in for me in terms of liking the other characters and their motive. But yeah, no, the fact that it's like quiet sometimes really, really helps that. And the cinematography, whenever they zoom in on the people who aren't talking and just like taking in the scene itself, really, really does it for me. I thoroughly like it because it's like less is more. I'm told that by my acting coach all the time. Sometimes less is more, and real talk, it is. Yeah. It genuinely is. And
Robert Pattinson gave like a subdued performance, but it was perfect for the movie.
Exactly, because he's again, like you said, depressed. This dude doesn't. He's like, I don't want to do this, bro. Whatever, I gotta do it. What else? There was something else that I wanted to mention. It wasn't about the characters, but it was hold on, let me think. The Batmobile. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that.
I was sexy as
no.
That Batmobile looked ass.
I didn't like it.
I was nutty.
No.
In the theater.
No.
All over the seats. People were like, oh my god.
No.
I'm like, ah.
No.
That shit was sexy.
No. I mean,
bro, that intro scene when it was like
no, the intro scene was nice.
The sound it made was like.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. It's just the design looked terrible.
The car on its own is fine, but as the Batmobile, I don't think it was.
Because it's a low tech Batman. He's not gonna be rolling around in a fucking tank like the Dark Knight.
Well, I feel like that plays more towards it because, like, if he's got the money,
it's not Batmobile. It's supposed to be.
He literally built it by himself. Like it showed him like working on it like in the garage. He was running a motorcycle for half the movie, so it's like he's not really like spending a whole bunch of money on these gadgets and stuff because running around in a fucking tank is hella impractical sometimes.
But I mean, if he's got the time to make a big ass engine that shoots out fire like a jet engine,
that still calls a lot of attention.
Yeah, plus you got to have a lot of money for that.
Yeah.
Like that you.
So as much as building a tank,
why not
all
go
the gadgets,
all in, right? Why not go all in?
Yeah. Honestly,
I feel like it was really good for the gritty, like low tech.
Like, I don't even remember. Like, did we even see like a full view of what it looked like?
No, because it was dark. It was supposed to be dark.
I know that, but like,
chase scene.
I don't know.
Yeah, it did not do it for me. I think it should have been better.
But you want like the Michael Keaton Batman Batmobile where it's like
like this is what it looked like. This looks like a fucking DeLorean, bro.
Well, yeah, because it's in full light. It doesn't really look as cool in the full light, but when it's dark, it looks sexy.
Well, yeah. Well, when you can't see anything in the dark.
Well, yeah, that's
the thing.
It was in the dark.
You look better with your eyes closed.
Damn! Imagine saying that to somebody. You look better when you're in the dark. But like, I mean, I'm liking the color, but like, this is not a Batmobile.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be practical to think about it, because it's meant to like.
Well, practical than the eye thing. You make it a camera. That's not practical.
What is it? Eyes a camera?
The eye camera. Whoever has that? Who has that?
Okay, think about
someone
Mission
who has
Impossible.
mental trauma and can't remember the night
no
before.
No one's gonna be able to like pat you down for a camera or a wire if you have it.
Let me see your eyeballs. Open up those pupils now.
So it's like a really, and like for him, he's wearing a suit. He doesn't really have a place to put a camera where he's not gonna get like shot or punched in the face. Being punched in the body.
Honestly, I think the eye thing was really good. I think it was really like, especially when it comes to tech, like that was tech that was well worth it.
I mean, I don't know. I don't vibe with the car. I don't.
Fuck with it so hard.
I mean, if you consider it just as a vehicle, then like yeah, it's cool. But like as the Batmobile,
Like I can get this at my local Dodge dealer probably.
Yeah,
like,
Batmobile, bro. It's supposed to meet certain standards.
What is
it's
it? Okay,
supposed
so
to be magical.
what would you have changed for the Batmobile?
I would have changed
for this movie.
I would have
for this movie.
I would have changed the whole front part and how it like you know in the Dark Knight, right? How it looks like a tank, bro. This thing is supposed to be impenetrable. Like in this, I mean, this dude got what? He got hit by an 18-wheeler and this thing swerved. If that was
that's real physics. That's really what's gonna happen.
But like, think about it. In Batman's instance, even though he's a human, he has contingency plans for shit that isn't human.
This isn't the same Batman though. Think about it. He's not as smart and calculating as other Batmen.
But
do you know of anybody who could pull off what Riddler pulled off?
Yeah, Riddler was obviously
Besides Hitler.
Riddler was not smart. Let's be real with you. This man was dumb as hell. But no, I think Riddler was supposed to be smarter than Batman. Like, I'm pretty sure they established that in the movie. That
because even Riddler told Batman straight up, like, "Damn, I really gave you too much credit. You're dumb."
Yeah, Batman literally lost like in a sense.
He like got the puzzle pieces, but not the whole puzzle.
Yeah,
he was like missing a solid third of the puzzle.
Yeah, and then at the very end, he's like, "Oh shit!" And then
he got
followers. Everything just like blew up at the end.
That last part was a bit convenient. Like I just said, pull it up. That encryption.
Carpet.
My dude just like, I can put 2 and 2 together, and then goes and puts it in. It's like, oh,
like, oh shit.
What's up, guys? It's Scarce here. So thank you for the followers.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below on what you want to see next.
We gonna bump the city.
Smash that like button if you hate Gotham.
You hate Gotham. Hashtag fuck Gotham. But yeah, no, I don't mess with the car. That's just on me. You know, I don't know. It's just
fits with the theme of the movie.
And did you know that actually? I believe was it who's the director was Mark something, right? Matt Reeves, not Mark. Matt Reeves actually said that scene where he jumps through the fire is not CG. That actually happened. Yeah. So that entire scene was actually legit. You know, and I find it funny. Things like, "I got you. Oh shit!" It's like, damn. All right.
And for that chase scene, like the camera angles and stuff that they used were really, but they did a really good job of actually like showing you like, because like they could have just been like, oh, like a big high angle of them just like chasing each other the whole time. But they actually had like views from like
the tire from the front of the car, from the Batmobile,
what they were seeing,
rearview mirror, So
I genuinely like that. You know, it was actually fantastic. Musical score. The musical score was. This slapped, bro. Let's be honest.
The whole sound design was fire. Oh my god.
The sound design was fantastic, and it really gave off the horror vibes a little bit, like at the very beginning.
Yeah, with the Riddler, that scared. Actually, like playing me like, oh yeah, let me jump a little bit because like it had the horror, like the horror serial killer vibe to it,
like some Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where like the high strings and it's like or something like that, and you're like, damn. Or like at the very beginning of the scene, that kid who like cuts the dude, like who fake cuts the guy and whatnot. You're like, okay, did he actually kill him or something? It's like obviously it's Gotham, kind of makes sense, but then it's like, oh, it's all fake. and then they bring in the Riddler who just shows up behind him. It's like, hey.
I feel like that. Okay, I feel like the scene where he's just standing there, just like looking at him, was kind of weird. I feel like they should have like maybe took that scene out and just kind of had him like come out of nowhere.
The one with the mayor, or which one?
Yeah,
the first, he was the first person where he's just sitting there and the guy's watching TV, he's just sitting there looking at him like.
I actually like that where he just like the camera starts turning, you just see like the reflect off his like glasses.
No, I'm not talking about that. I like that scene a lot.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot.
I'm talking when they show you his whole like body, like the whole like you see him, like his torso up. You just see him standing there. I like that scene probably. It took away from like the oh my god, he's about to like.
And that dude was moaning like crazy. He was like, he pulls the tape and everything. Bro, you getting aroused by murder?
I mean, he was sitting on top of his dead body, a little sus.
He was a serial killer, bro. They're weird.
Exactly, bro. Real talk. It's like, honestly, that dude, he bodied the role as.
He's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable, and he did a really good job doing that throughout the whole movie. I'm like, this man is weird. Not he's crazy, he's just weird.
He's literally weird. And then it's like, it's actually stated that he wasn't able to like sleep after he was done. He's like, bro, I made myself into something I didn't like. And everyone's looking at him and then looking at Heath Ledger, and it's like, please don't pull it.
Just kind of want you to like
don't
come
do
back
it
for another movie.
Exactly, please, for the love of God. Okay, so the Joker. What about the?
I want to throw up, bro. So bad. I wanted to like kill myself.
Did you guys see who was supposed to play it?
Yeah, the dude who played in Eternals. The dude who controlled people with his mind, with his eyes. Yeah. So it looked like the dude got herpes. So I said that like this. He's got like a mixture of herpes and something else, and it's just covered all over his face. And that laugh, it ain't it. That ain't it. That laugh.
Yeah. Like he needs to work.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the Joker.
I mean, he could maybe get better because he only got like a few minutes of screen time.
I feel well, think about it. I feel like, based on what we've seen in other movies with different Jokers, you can't really top that, can you?
Yeah.
You
no,
can't
he's
top
definitely not going to top them. That's not what we're arguing. It's
but
like
that's
whether
the
he's
thing.
going to be
No,
good
but like
or
that's
not.
the thing. People are expecting it to be as good as Joaquin Phoenix or Heath Ledger, but they can't do it.
Joaquin Phoenix quite literally died for that role, so no.
No, it was Heath Ledger died.
It's Heath Ledger. It's Heath Ledger. But here's the thing. Like, we don't need that. We've had so many. It's the same thing. It's just cut and paste. So people have high expectations for it. But with the Riddler, right? And Jim Carrey and Riddler and whatnot, it's been how many years since that? So people have like, even though they haven't forgotten about Riddler, they're like, okay, so when is he gonna come back? And the dude bodied the role as the Riddler. Yeah. So they brought in different characters that we haven't heard from him forever.
Because we just want honestly, the audience just wants something fresh. Because if you do Batman, you have to do something different.
Exactly.
Because the Riddler, it was very different from Jim Carrey. Like, completely different. This movie, the Batman, was completely different. Completely different from The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
exactly.
It really
night and day difference. The Joker, you can't really, I mean, I don't know how they can do it, but he's basically crazy for no reason. That's kind of been his stigma. So, I mean, for the Joker, like the Joker movie, they did it differently.
Yeah,
it was a backstory though. So
yeah,
he was still. I like the Joker movie slowly going insane. Yeah. That was pretty much how it's like.
Like you saw the build up,
and it wasn't just for like no reason. Like he had reasons for being insane. But I feel like for this movie, for like this, if they go into like making more movies with the same Batman, I feel like the Joker was gonna end up being like a watered down version.
No, it has to be because again, as I've stated. Everyone is expecting something insanely good, but you can't top something like Heath Ledger. Yeah. It's not possible. And I feel bad for the dude who's going to be acting as the role of Joker because it's like you have so much weight on your shoulders and you have so many expectations from everybody that you could either do really, really, really well for this or you could do shit and everyone gets on your head for it.
For example, Suicide Squad.
Yeah, bro, exactly.
Jared Leto? Terrible. No one talks
so
about
bad.
Him.
It was oh my god, it was horrible. But like giving the other characters in the Batman franchise more light is actually good because some of those hardened DC comic fans or whatnot, they love to see that. Like, oh, we haven't seen these before. I'm liking where this is going. But then because then again, they can't really be mad at how it goes because it's a whole different story from what everyone else has seen, from what's in the comics, because that's what they try to do. It's the whole DC universe, right? It's not the comics universe. They take something and they make it something new, right? So, if they go down other routes that involve, Bane, or is it Ra's al Ghul? Ra's al Ghul, or Two-Face, right? I guess you could pull off Two-Face as a main character, but I don't know how you would go about doing that, because this dude is not smart, quote unquote, but he's also
just a gangster.
Literally, that's the same thing with Penguin.
But yeah.
And
honestly, I didn't think they could do. I didn't know how they're gonna pull off Riddler. I was like, Riddler as the main villain, and I was like,
But they did it really well.
But yeah, after seeing the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, that was perfect.
It was great.
That was perfect for the movie.
Exactly, and like the foreshadowing that we saw, or was it after shadowing? Not foreshadowing of the Penguin after the whole city had submerged. I'm thinking that the next movie is going to take place either after the whole city is drained, which I don't know how they're going to do that. And then Penguin is the main villain, or it takes place immediately afterwards. And oh wait, no, that's not right. I remember I heard something on this. Actually, they have three. Forget what I was saying. They have 3 different shows coming to HBO Max. One's called Gotham, which is the city as a whole, like how it all plays out. Penguin, which is how he rose to power, and the third one is what's the third one? Third one involves Arkham Asylum, and how people keep breaking in and out. So hopefully we'll probably see Joker there. Actually, I don't hope to see him.
I'd rather see him there, and then he just flops, and we just like, okay, no more Joker.
No more. We don't need this. Thank you.
Just kidding.
Joaquin, get your ass in here.
Joaquin, I liked him a lot.
Joaquin, yeah.
We can't call it this Batman. This doesn't make sense.
Because there's like with the DC universe, you've got one shot, right? With the amount of times that they failed doing this, it's like if you screw up once, everyone hates it. And what is their go-to? Restart the entire universe.
Yeah.
Scrap the whole thing.
Exactly.
Let's bring it all in again.
It's like, shit, you did bad.
Let's refresh
Okay.
Yeah, because when you're playing Marvel, they have a consistent lineup of banger movies. So if you come out with a dud, it's kind of just like, oh,
like
that
with
sucks.
Thor: The Dark World, they didn't care about that. They're like, all right, we'll do better next time.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
And then, you have Thor Ragnarok, right? That movie was godly. It was comedic. It was good. It had action. And it really played up to the hype.
And then
so,
DC's like, out with the old, in with the new.
Like, I don't know why it is DC. I'm going to shit on DC for a second. Why, in God's name, can they not just take, influence from Marvel and just run with that? It's like, oh, but we think we want to be better than Marvel. It's like, no, you literally rebooted your series 6 whole times now. Just literally take some context from Marvel and maybe integrate it. But I mean, with this one, obviously they went down the dark route because it's Batman.
I know. I feel they should keep doing that with DC, honestly. 'Cause I feel like the comic book movie route for DC isn't working at all.
And I feel like Matt Reeves, the way that he went about directing this was great, because I think he was also the writer of this, and the dialogue as well as the writing itself was great. And I'm hoping to God, because DC fans have not caught a break. Yeah. Like, hopefully this goes somewhere that we want it to go. But only time can tell with that one. Let's see here. We already talked about Batman's mental depression, right?
Yeah.
And how
we
Riddler's...
didn't talk about it specifically, but it was a part of our other conversations.
Yeah. How Riddler's anguish and his anguish are kind of the exact same.
Yeah.
But
I loved how they had a comparison of just like, hey, like the poor orphan and like the rich orphan.
Yeah.
Right, but in the end, you're still orphans, regardless of if you have the money or not. So
I felt
it's
so bad for Batman, bro. They were shitting on Bruce Wayne. He's just like, bro, that's me low key. That's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, he was just standing there like...
But yeah, no, the mental... I mean, yeah, if you spend like one day in Gotham, you're going to be instantly depressed. It's just how that works.
Sad as fuck. Damn. Get off the subway without getting mugged by a group of gangs.
I know,
Exactly.
he just wanted to go home, and they were like, oh, this one.
But,
Beat the shit out of him.
beat him up.
Hey, but like that first scene with that dude who tries to approach Batman and hit him, and that dude just like breaks his arm and punches the shit out of him as he's on the ground, and then keeps beating the fuck out of him. I'm like, damn.
That really did a good job of establishing, like, hey, he's not...
I got dominance here.
Yeah.
You a bitch.
He doesn't, like, he has, what's it called?
Self-control?
He has a little self-control, but not a whole lot. Like,
He's not going to be perfect 100% of the time.
Yeah, he's
sometimes
not
he does
killing
reach
people.
those breaking points.
Yeah, he's not killing people, but he's beating the shit out of people, because he's like...
Yeah, but that's his policy, no kill policy, and that held true here. So even tried to stop Black Cat from that.
I'm glad he didn't, like, oh, he needs to... Like, I have a no-kill policy. It's more of just, like, morally, like, hey, you can't do that. Like that's not really just
Right.
Yeah.
because other movies like like you have so many rules, Batman. Why don't you kill people, Batman? Like was
Exactly.
really big corner.
Because I mean, then again, if he killed people, it would go against like everything that he stands for, and he'd be no better than the actual villains
But
themselves.
I like that he showed it with his actions and not.
That is true. That is very true. Okay, we can start talking about future things for the franchise. I want to start off with Robin hopefully being introduced.
Yeah.
How they would go about doing that? How they introduce Dick, so to speak. I don't know how they would go about doing that, but I feel like there's more that needs to happen before that happens.
I agree. Because I don't feel like Batman's mature enough to be able to have someone to mentor.
Exactly, because he doesn't.
Because we saw like a preview of that of him like working with Catwoman, even then.
It was unstable.
Yeah.
He's unstable still as a person. He's not able to function as Bruce Wayne.
Every single person in this place is unstable.
Yeah.
He's like not ready to be part of a team, a collective effort.
And honestly, I'm not sure if I really want to see like a Robin or because like if you think about the old Batman trilogy with Christian Bale, there was never a Robin.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie was still really good though. I still enjoyed them. So
I feel like Nightwing would be better than Robin.
Yeah.
In this instance or this series itself, with how dark it is, I feel like Nightwing would be better.
Yeah, I can see them introducing Nightwing as like, hey, I'm trying to be like you. He's like, hey, you don't need to be like me because like what I'm doing isn't what you should be doing. You should be doing stuff that's better.
Leave the burden to me to do
I'm
it.
mentally insane.
Yeah, so like, you don't want to end up like me.
Yeah.
Like mentally insane, so you should stop doing it. I can see them doing that.
Right.
And then he'd be like, no, I'm doing this because of like personal stuff. Whatever. I feel like they can do that.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
That would make the most amount of sense.
Yeah. Red Hood.
Yeah, bro, Red Hood being
Crazy.
introduced. That'd be awesome.
That's a whole they cannot do.
Oh, talk about your idea for Scarecrow. What about that?
Shoot, I remember what I said yesterday. Oh, so in the movie, what was I talking about? Shoot, you gotta remind me.
I talked about the adrenaline aspect.
Oh yes.
Like,
okay, so yeah. In the movie, Batman, like it's like one of the last scenes they have, the last fight scene. He gets to get his ass whooped. And then Catwoman's about to get murdered. He's just like, yo, I can't do shit. Let me grab this jungle juice real quick.
Yeah, trend.
Let me get this trend. Hold on.
Muscle milk, bro. He straight just injected it into himself. And he just like beat the ever living crap out of this guy. Like
they didn't stop him. He would have killed him.
Yes,
like
he was going to kill him.
He was like, boom, 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 boom. Everyone was like, wait a minute.
Like, you got him, bro. You got him. He's tapping out. He's tapping out. He can't breathe no more.
And this dude in the Riddler costume smiling his ass off too. I'm like, bro, what? You just got your shit rocked. What are you smiling for?
Bro, when he's like, I'm vengeance. I'm like, oh my gosh. All these people are insane and they just recruit each other. Like, hey, you got mental instability? Ooh, head over my way.
Stream?
She was fire, right?
Yeah, she was nice. The live stream was going hard.
Alright, so back to the Scarecrow thing. I can't remember exactly what I said. Say what along the
okay, so I think it has something to do with like mass producing it, using it against people to cause fear and like distraught in other people, or based on like I don't know, like a kind of like with the Penguin, the drug deal or something.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, Penguin takes over, and he starts like using like the drug to kind of like control stuff. Is that what I was saying?
Yeah,
Something like
you
that, probably.
infiltrate the minds of people to like do. I wouldn't say do his bidding, but to like trip. You know.
I guess
because it basically makes you like super strength. You know.
Yeah. So I could see that happening like as a side effect. Like, hey, it makes you strong. Like you're like tripping balls.
Yeah, you're gonna be tripping balls. You're gonna be swinging at things,
And
like
so,
make you go insane. So you just things that aren't there. You just start throwing hands.
You know, it would be really cool for like this like movie because like this Batman movie isn't an action movie. It's an action plus a horror like murder mystery.
Thriller.
So I feel like the same thing could be applied. It could be like a action movie plus a horror movie. It's like fear toxic and stuff like that. Could be the part. I know they did that in the first Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises.
I think so. No, Batman Begins.
Batman Begins.
Batman Begins
with the Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they can do something really cool.
I feel like they should go with a Batman movie that's just strictly horror. You know, like deal with like what Gotham actually is. You know, like, murders on a daily. You see that up close and personal. You know,
I'm trying to think what other villains they could use because one thing we're talking about is this Batman The universe needs to have no superpowers whatsoever.
Yeah.
As soon as superpowers get introduced, it's gonna ruin the Batman.
Yeah, because he's just a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because they kept like consistent with that. Oh, he is just a guy. He's just trying to like go with regular day.
So that's what kind of ruined Batman for Superman. It's like, oh, I have to be
That
super
movie was
smart
a shit show.
This guy has superpowers, so for me to be able to beat him, I need to pull all this shit out of my ass.
I need prep time. That's what I need.
Exactly, yeah.
And I can beat his ass. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
Yeah. I thought they could do
fucking alien. You can't do that.
I'm trying to remember some of the characters from the Arkham game, the PlayStation game.
The Arkham game. Oh,
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke
That'd
would
be
be
a
a
really
good one.
cool character for them to introduce.
I feel like Deathstroke would, as it stands now, Deathstroke would body, this Batman right now.
And that would be really cool because it's like, oh, he had to fight someone who was smarter than him. Now he has to fight someone who's stronger than him as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like a different
Or
aspect,
more
not the same
tactical
movie.
than he is.
Yes, more tactical. Yeah,
Tactical would be an interesting one.
They can make Deathstroke like more tactical and smarter than him, but like not like necessarily like super like strong. In that sense, where he's like maybe like ex-military, where he's like he has experience with this stuff.
Yeah.
But he's not
Or there's
good.
some things about this Batman that we just don't know about yet. They hadn't mentioned anything on it yet. Or like what he's been doing before he ever became Batman, you know? Because he's been doing this for, I don't know
Because we just jump in when he's at the 2-year mark.
Mm-hmm. He's been doing this for 2 years now.
Ooh, a really cool idea is maybe they have like Deathstroke or maybe a character that's like similar to him, where he's trying to be like Batman, but instead of being like no murdering people, he actually is.
Oh,
Murdering
he goes
people.
ahead and actually murks people like it's... I like that.
And he's a better version of Batman. I can't remember what character. I feel like there was a character that was similar to him from one of the Arkham games. Oh shit, I forgot what his name was.
You can look it up. I mean, I can talk about the other stuff. Let's see here. Hugo Strange is the possible next villain based on the Riddler's website.
Yeah.
There's if I remember correctly, there was something I saw where it says so that there's a riddle. The thing that we see are like the what's it called? If I go to the website, what's the website's name again? It's called something, right? Damn it! It's like Rada Lotta. Yeah, Rada Lotta, right? Yeah, Rada Lotta. Rada Lotta. So there's like this thing that downloads on your computer or something, and the quote is. Let's see if I can find it. Hold on. I can't even see what's happening, but that's fine. It's fine. You don't need to know. If you really want to know, just look it up. It'll tell you. Hold on. Let's see if we can go to. Screw it. We're gonna go here. We're just gonna go here. Yeah. So this thing right here, it's actually been translated to. You think I'm finished, but perhaps you don't know the full truth. Every ending is a new beginning. Something is coming. So obviously the Riddler's not done. He's gonna be back. So yeah, some people did this earlier. They translated it. So yeah, the Riddler's basically coming back, and
I think that'll be interesting to see because this first movie he was like, "Oh, we're a team. I'm using you, and you know that we're working together."
Yes,
but now that Batman's like, "No, you're a freak," and he's like, "What? No, that's not what you were supposed to say. That's not how it was supposed to go." I think that'll be an interesting take.
And this man's like, "What the fuck?"
That the whole scene was so good. He said, this is not supposed to go like this. And I'm like, because like, it really made him seem like he's not insane, but he's just really like bizarre and weird.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure correlation, maybe.
So the character I was talking about, his name is Azrael.
Azrael?
Yes.
Azrael. Okay.
He's like a crusader type of guy. Like that's what like his whole getup is.
Oh, okay.
But basically, he's an anti-hero like Batman, but he's like way more ruthless.
He's way more ruthless.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
like Batman with less morals.
Yes. Because he was in one of the Arkham games. I forget which one it was. I haven't played them in forever, so I can't really remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that would be a really cool character they can probably look into because he's just a normal person, basically.
Okay.
They could introduce maybe Ra's al Ghul. I feel like if they do, they can't introduce the Lazarus Pit because that's kind of like magic and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Or the Council of Owls. I don't think it. Well.
Oh, have you checked out the Batman Arkham Knights? It's like the new Batman game's coming out.
Oh, I haven't checked out the.
Okay, so basically, it's like Batman dies, and like Robin, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Batgirl have to like usually like work together and like fight other villains.
Okay.
And like one of the main protagonists, they show at the very end is like the owl.
The owl?
Yeah, the owl, like the Council of Owls, whatever it's called.
The Council of Owls. I remember they said something along the lines of that's being like hinted towards. or something. I believe Robert Pattinson himself in a interview with Zoe and the rest of the cast.
Like,
he's
really
like,
cool.
yeah, it's like it could possibly be the Council of Owls, and the dude, I don't know if it's Alfred. He's like, oh, then he's just freaking out. He's like, I don't know, I'm just spitballing right now. I have no
like
clue.
they could do that for like a third or fourth installment.
I feel like
that'd be really cool.
That'd be
Like, they
interesting.
can like hint to it towards the second movie, like, oh yeah, we're actually.
That'd be yeah, like that's the reason why Gotham is the way that it is. It's like the person you think is controlling it,
or
is
maybe
just the next person out.
Psych.
They did hint at it, like the Arkham family and the Waynes are like control the city.
Yeah.
They could be like the Arkham family could be like the Owl.
That would make
Council of
sense.
Owls.
Yeah,
So,
no,
yeah.
like they run the city, and that makes sense.
So, yeah, but that would be really cool thing to pursue.
And you know about Hugo Strange, right?
I don't know.
Okay,
very much.
so
I do a little
apparently-
research.
Hugo Strange, give me a sec. Hugo Strange is the former chief of the psychiatry and director of Arkham Asylum, who was involved in experimentation on human beings at Indian Hill. He was an employee of a former schoolmate Thomas Wayne at Pinewood Farms. After his experiment led to the program being shut down, he looked into reopening the program, which he deemed impossible without Thomas out of the picture. As a result, he hired the hit that resulted in the deaths of Thomas and Martha Wayne, and therefore was responsible for the orphaning of Bruce Wayne. So,
Well, didn't they say that? Oh, they didn't say that. What's his name? Killed
Riddler?
No.
killed
I know.
Thomas
what
Oh,
you're talking-
Falcone?
They didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Falcone.
they didn't. He didn't say that he did. Did he say he did? Or
I don't think Falcone said he's the one who actually killed
They implied that
them.
it was a strong possibility,
Yeah.
but they didn't like straight up confirm.
Yes, because he said
did this.
that Maroney did it, and then
Maroney was like, it was Falcone.
well, no, Maroney. It was Alfred. He said
Yeah, because
no.
when he was when
Seems like
Alfred
he-
was in the hospital and he was talking to him about it, Bruce like straight up asked like he killed my parents and he was like, I wish I could tell you that. Like
Yeah.
I've been trying to figure it out for all this time.
It could
I
have
mean,
just been a random
yeah,
ass
it's a
gangster.
possibility, but we can never like straight
So,
up confirm.
that could be a possibility where he's the one who actually killed Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
And that would be a really good like, hey, like a revenge story. Like he's still trying to like, I'm not vengeance, but like this is an opportunity for me to get revenge for my parents. This is
Right.
the reason that I'm Batman type of stuff.
That
So
makes sense. I mean, and the fact that they mentioned it at the very end of the movie kind of leads it up to that happening, so to speak.
So
Plus, I think it's also one of the riddles that was on like 2 days ago when the movie came out. That like once you solve all the riddles, that's what like the video that comes up actually hints to Hugo being one of the next.
It's the Hush.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that. So I mean, that is a possibility. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like that would be interesting to see that. Let's see here. I put down. I loved how they showed Bruce Wayne. They didn't show Bruce Wayne. It only showed Batman. Marconi literally says Bruce is the Prince of Gotham. So just being Bruce will get him an information, and that had to happen for the story to progress. The parents had a big involvement without actually being there.
Yes, they played a very big plot point without actually. Like,
Yeah, no, they were huge plot points without actually literally being there. So I found the 3 spin-offs of what that is. But yeah, no, I think that's about it, I think.
Yeah.
Unless there's something else that like I don't know. Again, I don't know how they would introduce the Council of Owls, but
I'm trying to think about other villains that could possibly be in.
that would make sense at least because you can't really do Bane. This dude gets juiced up on
could.
venom and he's like.
I mean, you could possibly do Bane because Bane is actually really smart. So maybe make him like a crime boss type of stuff.
No, that makes
and then
sense.
just have him like the reason people fear him so much is because he's like super strong and he's smart too.
Well, I mean, like, I feel like the next installment of this movie would take place after the shows, because I feel like the shows would be canon to the actual universe itself. With the Penguin and everything, as well as Arkham and all this other stuff, either it'd be a prequel or a sequel to this movie, and then the next movie would happen after the shows are over. But I don't know for sure if that's what they're going to do. I don't know.
I don't know either, honestly. I feel like, honestly, I'm not too excited for the TV shows, but I feel like TV shows can either be really good or they can be like really mid.
Yeah.
Not be that entertaining.
I mean,
and they can also like prevent you from like having a movie soon.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, I don't know if they're gonna do the same feel as this movie because there's so many crime
Yeah, and
mystery dramas
yeah,
that
and it's hard to keep the same tension throughout a whole series and keep it like weekly, like keep people invested. Weekly.
it's like with Agents of Shield. No one gave a shit about that because
Yeah,
they didn't see
after-
any of the heroes.
Yeah, 'cause
except
it was
Ghost
good
Rider,
for like
but-
the first few seasons, but after a while, it's like it's
Yeah,
really not
it's
entertaining.
pretty terrible. It's like
So-
I don't want to say anything bad about the Flash, but I mean it's got its moments, but it's kind of like that in a sense, but
Because
nah.
those shows went on for too long. honestly.
way too long.
Like for Marvel TV, they're doing an okay job.
Like the, yeah, no,
it's not crazy. Like, oh my, Loki was really good. I like Loki.
Loki was fantastic.
But I feel like everything else has been like, it's been good, but it hasn't been like, I rather would have had a movie instead.
Right.
So.
That's true. I like with WandaVision is mid at most. Captain America and the
Winter Soldier.
The Winter Soldier. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's it. Yeah, that was pretty mid in a sense. Hawkeye was actually decent.
I like
to be honest.
Hawkeye was good. More because they didn't really have anything for like ignore him. So maybe it'll give an opportunity for these characters to have more spotlight.
I would think so. Like with the Penguin, I'm kind of looking forward to that to see, but. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you just have to be a big fan of mystery as a whole, or else you're just not gonna understand it. So I feel like what kind of what's it called? Kind of DC TV shows are out right now. I don't think any of them are like. I'm not trying to see if they're canon, but more or less like the vibe of them or whatnot.
One character that I was looking up, just like characters from the Arkham series, because I'm trying to remember. Black Mask, he's like a crime boss, like a big, very big crime boss. Mm-hmm. He has like this like black mask, essentially. Like it's like basically like stuck on his face.
Okay.
They could do that. They could just have him like just wearing a mask.
That makes sense.
And have him like as a main crime boss, maybe like they to like oppose the Penguin, because the Penguin he's like an underling, so there's probably other underlings who are also trying to vie for power.
That makes sense.
I can see him maybe not being in the Batman movie, but possibly in the TV show.
Oh, Peacemaker's pretty good, but I mean, like that doesn't follow the thing. But I don't know. Most of these, it can go either way with it being a drama or something else. I don't know. It all depends, honestly. But they have to keep the same vibe that they have with this Batman movie. If it's following this, it has to have the same vibe. So.
Ooh, I forgot about
but.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, from the Arkham games. Yeah,
the Arkham Knight, like basically like the robotic looking Batman. He was so cool. He had the guns and stuff. And I'm like, Batman with guns.
Batman with guns. Solos. All right. So, do we have anything else we want to talk about, or are we pretty much good?
I'm pretty sure we talked about everything that was kind of important.
Yeah,
we could be honest.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, again, the acting was fantastic. Pretty much everything about it.
Overall, it was a really
really good movie, and the fact that some people are hating on it's like, bro, what? Oh wait, actually, before we leave, I want to read one of the critics.
Yeah, let's read a couple critics stuff. See what they say.
Yeah, so basically, one person, Tana Lamb. She says the performance were emotional and raw in the Batman, but you're gonna get very broody Batman that never smiles. The Batman is not kid friendly for younger ones. I wonder why that is. Maybe because it's a mystery and shit, and maybe it's because it's a crime fighting.
Also, this movie is not intended for children, so it's not. It's not like that's their target audience. It's like their top priority isn't to be like little Jimmy that's 6 years old in the front row at the movies is like having a good time.
I feel like if it was the director's decision, it would have been rated R.
Yeah.
Rated PG-13 because the producers wanted it to be like more available.
That makes sense.
That's the only reason it's PG-13 because it is so dark and grimy. Like
it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah,
because they have the murder scenes. They didn't show things on purpose because it was like because it really bad.
I feel like the Riddler, right? If it was rated R, he wouldn't use the tape. In fact, he would use something else entirely. Just to
use the tape, but they would show you what his face looked like underneath the tape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it reminded me like have you watched like Seven and Zodiac? We were talking about that earlier.
I think I've seen Zodiac.
This movie reminds me like those parts of that part of the movie remind me.
Right. No, I know what you're talking about. It's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. But yeah, no, I want to see what the other critics review was, because honestly, some of them I don't know where I can find them. I know that they're on like here possibly Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't entirely remember where on here they are. That's the Batman.
I just want to talk about the set pieces, bro.
Bro, the set pieces
are so immaculate.
So it was juicy, great. Man. It was actually fantastic, to be honest.
And I like how they it was dark and broody, but they didn't use rain the whole time. Like it was raining at parts where it needed to rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't all rain or some. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and the sound design was so good.
It was phenomenal. The critics' consensus. I want to read the crit. Okay, here we go. All right, so here's Chris Sawin. It says, deserves credit for shining spotlight under the underbelly of Gotham, but the storytelling in the Batman is like Bugs Bunny meaning to have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. Meandering foray down a dark rabbit hole that isn't entirely necessary. What are you talking about? It's meant to be dark, you dumbass. How do you not? Have you never watched a mystery movie
Also,
or TV show in your life?
If you keep in mind the context of why he is Batman, he's not gonna be all like, "Oh yay, let's solve crime after my parents were brutally murdered." Let's
Oh, happy day.
Yeah.
You're a psychology major, so what do you think about
Yeah, this man has psychological damage, and people are like, "Why is he so dark? What?
I don't get it. What?
I don't understand."
He lives in a city that has crime every day. I don't get it.
People getting murdered every day. People stab each other in the back. People do drugs all the time. Why is he stuck in his house all the time?
I don't get it.
He looks better smiling. Just come on, lighten up.
For real, dude.
You're trying to be hot and broody all the time. It's not a good look for you, man.
Here's Walter Shaw, or whatever. The Batman is a product of this time and place. In other words, a shame that this time and place are so stupid.
Bro, what?
What? It's a shame that you actually have ground to stand on.
Sounds like an old white man
He's
with access to
talking, talking about why Gotham is so shitty.
Yeah, bro, that's a part of the thing.
That's real life. There are places that are worse than Gotham.
Fucking Detroit, damn it.
Detroit. LA is probably worse than Gotham, for being honest.
Fucking Miami during spring break.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Bro, it's a lot worse out here than Gotham. Gotham's pretty bad, but I mean,
we got pretty terrible, you know.
You got garbage service and shit still operating.
Oh no, Radian Simon, I don't even know how you say that. Wants to be critical of Batman as a vigilante. He uses excessive force and uses the Riddler to comment on white man radical. You know, it's such a bitch ass. God damn.
That was one thing they were talking about. I was really just like all these white men in power, and I'm just like, okay.
And then you got the black woman who's becoming mayor, right?
But that was cool.
But so how can it be radical power if you've literally?
Well, because they're talking about how Thomas Wayne and the whole Arkham family is their whole bunch of white privileged assholes.
They said that this points didn't land as hard as Batman's fist. I'm pretty sure they.
I feel like it was good to bring up, but I feel like it kind of was weird in the movie because it's kind of just I'm not really focused on this.
Exactly.
But I feel like it was very it made sense to why he was acting the way he was.
Oh God, Deborah! No, Deborah, you're 60. There is shuddering set piece after set piece with nothing innovative of note.
I mean, it wasn't trying to be any
it wasn't trying to be anything. It's literally supposed to be dark and gritty. Yeah. You're not supposed to focus on the set piece. You're supposed to focus on the actual story itself and how the actors act.
It wasn't supposed to be cool movie like The Dark Knight. It was cool movie. Batman there's a plane that picks Batman up from a tower. He's flying in a tower with sonar. Oh, that's cool. It's no, it's supposed to be him.
It's supposed to be realistic, so to speak.
Deborah also commented on the lack of jokes, but honestly, I think if they made a lot of jokes in Dark Knight, it would have taken away from that dark, serious attitude that this movie had. So honestly, I do not agree that the lack of jokes.
Deborah, you 60-year-old.
I think it was purposeful with the type of mood that they were trying to establish for the movie.
That's the problem with Batman vs Superman. This Batman is not serious at all. He makes too many jokes.
Exactly. It's
just
what?
Oh my God! You're you're fighting an alien monster that's basically tearing up the whole city.
It's basically God right now.
You're just joke. I didn't know what he
LOL.
said. LOL. Damn, this is gonna hurt. It's bro, what?
Yeah.
Ligma.
Also, given the context of where he's at, how he grew up, how you gonna just bounce back with jokes after that? You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it was.
You can't.
Way more
obviously, there's one with
dark
Thumb Drive.
And gloomy.
That was funny.
It was dark humor though. It's just kind of I get it.
Yeah.
I solved the riddle.
It's understandable if it's dark humor in a sense that actually makes sense in this movie. Yeah. But if it's dark humor, it's I'm not actually gonna say anything because I can't say that kind of stuff. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, inappropriate humor.
Yeah, or not inappropriate, but more of that. Thumb Drive. Something like that, but more relatable. It's okay, it makes it's funny.
I think, yeah.
It was dry. It was dry because he's a dry person.
Dry dark humor, pretty much. Yeah, something like that.
He's a psychotic killer, so it lines up.
But also, Bruce Wayne isn't he's as what's the word? Showy. What's the word for showy?
Flagrant.
Yeah, he's not as flagrant as like the Dark Knight, where he's just like, oh, I'm finna buy this whole restaurant. I own the restaurant. Ha ha ha.
Yeah. Oh,
or
no.
I'm gonna buy all these models and we're finna go on this boat.
Yeah,
he's not,
bro, look at the and horny day or whatever.
No.
Yet another bro.
What does that even mean?
Bro, what?
Look at what that means,
bro. She's using big words to act like she knows what she's talking about. Only to be wrong as a whole. Only to be. It's like Grim slog masquerading as a fun. It's not supposed to be fun. It's fucking Batman, dude.
It's literally not a comic, like a traditional comic book movie.
It's not supposed to be. Yeah, it's supposed to be dark.
If you want that, go to Marvel.
Exactly.
So Lou, I don't even know what it says. Looking or sounding sad and dismal.
It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's literally supposed. That's the whole point of it. Yeah. Like if you literally look up the fucking genre, look up the genre of this goddamn movie. Look up the genre of it, and then I guarantee you it's gonna be mystery, thriller. What mystery or thriller is like hilarious in this aspect of showing how dark it is.
Sarah said so many aspects don't come together.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's because they're leaving an opening for other movies. It's not supposed to be like a full summary in one movie.
Like, why would they stop it right here if they've got something good going?
Yeah. Why would they not leave loose ends? They want you to come back. Like, that's the whole point of having a multiple part.
Exactly. It's like, do they even think before writing a review?
I just don't think people like serious comic book movies. I think that's what it is.
No, I think it's just old people. Like, real talk.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
It's just old people.
All right, so I looked up the genres. So there's 6 that come up. It's action, superhero, adventure, drama, crime film, mystery.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, comedy is not in there.
Comedy's not meant to be a part of it.
And honestly, I like it without that like straight consistent comedy. I like it.
It still keeps it interesting. Yeah. You don't have to have comedy. I think it's really fitting. Mm-hmm.
I think if they like tried to force jokes throughout that, it would have been like it wouldn't have matched up with who Batman is.
It would have killed the whole movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if he's smiling, beating the shit out of you, it's like, bro, what?
They did have comic relief with the other characters though, like Commissioner Gordon and Catwoman. They actually were like served as comic relief, like, making jokes like, "Oh, haha,
I got 9 lives," or something.
Like, "Oh, why are you so weird?" We're like, "Why don't you just say hi like a normal person?" Like, "Oh, haha." It's like he's weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just comes in on people's like, "You're really good at that." So, Mark Feeney, underlit and overblown is a formidable combination, though not necessarily in the way Reeves intended. I think this is exactly what Reeves intended.
Yeah.
This is all part of it, and look at how well it did. Mm-hmm. You know, I was like, underlit and overblown. No, it was perfect. I think the reason it was underlit was to show off how dark it actually is. We keep saying it over and over again. It's Gotham, for God's sakes. Yeah. It's not supposed to be, bright and sunshine and shit. Yeah. It crime every day.
Like, it contributes to the aesthetic and overall.
It's supposed to be a shitty city to live in. It's not supposed to be like, it's not California where it's nice, like
I go walk my dog in the morning. How cute!
Like, I'm about to get bugged by some person, and they also steal your dog too.
I know.
There's some guy from Detroit News. The Batman certainly mirrors the dismal state of the world today. Any breaks from that dreariness will have to come at a different bat time on a different bat channel.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't understand what that.
Honestly, I think he's basically saying that it mirrors like how our society is today. And if you really want to break from that sucky ass society, you can't come to this movie apparently. But honestly, I think that's also contributing to like how it's supposed to be.
Like, you know, it's supposed to be grounded and realistic.
Yeah,
it's supposed to, and I mean, like, it gives light on what it is. Plus, it's a comic book character.
But he's from Detroit, though, so I can see how that's like.
Yeah,
I see it every day, bro.
I gotta see it on the big screen.
I paid $15-$20 for this shit, bro. I could have went outside and saw this for free.
Can't have shit in Detroit.
Poor Adam.
All right, let's see. The reality is that there's probably nothing truly novel to be done with Batman at this point. Try as Reeves and his co-screenwriter Peter Craig might, they can't squeeze much higher meaning blood out of this fatally depleted stone. Bro, they literally did. They literally revitalized it. Everyone loves it. It's not my fault that you don't understand legitimate logic when it's thrown in your face.
They don't need to do anything new. They just need to do something good.
Bro, trying to act different.
And I do.
If different was like trying to be somebody.
Like the heavy focus on Batman and not Bruce Wayne is something novel for this film.
Exactly.
So, what is
people think like, oh, we need like Transformers, like, oh, we need people skydiving like throughout like a big city. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just like, no, we don't really need. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. That shit was cool as fuck as a kid. I'm like, oh my god, you know, they're flying through a city, aliens are blasting them and shit. But like, honestly. like that's not that big of a deal.
It's really not.
I just want a good movie that's consistent and has
like
really
the
good
quality
plots.
of the film.
Yeah,
Exactly. So
Even if they did introduce like a lot of other new things, like that doesn't mean that they're good quality new things.
Yeah.
And you don't want to just introduce a bunch of different stuff like, ooh, wow, just for the sake of introducing something.
like
new.
The Dark Knight. We can talk about The Dark Knight. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
The part with like the plane where it's like, oh, the plane's picking me up, but like I'm flying. Like the plane's flying and I'm like sitting still and the plane's picking me up. I was really just like, that did not need to be the
Bro.
movie.
Yeah.
Bro, look at this one right here. The Batman is a very good Batman film. To think it is anything more only leads to delusion or disappointment.
What's her name?
Clarice.
She down with it, bro.
But look at these idiots. Imagine if David Fincher made a Batman movie, but it was censored to air on television at Walmart.
Yeah, that was one thing I kind of like. I do get what you're trying to say. It's kind of like it is a PG-13 movie, so I feel like it could have been more dark and grittier if it was rated R and they had that kind of like flexibility to like show what they wanted to show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, look at Kevin, bro. Your name is fucking Kevin. The performances are as complex as the color palette. Bro, are you kidding me? It's supposed to be a dark, gritty film.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be, oh, I'm all happy and I'm gonna go kill people. It's not supposed to be that way. It's a literal Batman film, for fuck's sake. It's not supposed to be something that's just bright and happy.
Yeah.
Also, I really like the consistency of like, even if I am tempted by things that should bring happiness, I am still in this constant state of like,
like nothing. There's like no ray of like hope.
Exactly, and that's like the point of it.
He's like, what is it called? Like realistic. Like he's actually considering.
He's a pessimist. He sees the worst in almost every situation. But he's like,
but like
he
his
lives in
parents
Gotham.
got killed.
He lives in Gotham. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
His parents got murdered, and he lives in Gotham. And he's just like continuously fighting bad things. So like nothing.
Why the fuck am I here?
Yeah, he's like, bro, I don't even know why I'm trying to fight for Gotham because Gotham's probably not gonna get saved.
Yeah,
but he really just
want to be saved. Don't save him.
No, but he really just like, you know what, but I'm here anyway, and I'm like the Batman. That's my job. So it's like, okay, yeah.
Bro,
that's crazy. Let's get this again.
I saw some people say, bro, if I was Batman, I would have left Zoe Kravitz. Fuck the city. We going. And I'm like, this is why you not Batman.
You got this bitch. You got this bitch going crazy.
There's an unshakable feeling here of what's the point, not to mention this nearly 3-hour long length, holy runtime. Yet you don't have an issue with it with Avengers Endgame, and that was the greatest fucking movie ever, apparently, to every single critic ever.
Yeah.
What? But now you complain about a runtime. That's hilarious.
If they cut, I can't even think of one part they could cut out.
They can't.
Yeah, that would be like, no.
Imagine there's like a director's cut of this thing. 4 hours long. Hell no. I feel like there is, though.
Yeah, I feel like every scene contributed something to us as viewers.
Okay.
They're gonna bring back 3-hour movies now. Golden age, bro. 4-hour, 5-hour movies, bro.
Go crazy for 6.
Hey, as long as they're good, I don't even care. You know. My
long
Little
as it's
Pony,
a
4 hours long. Hey, let's go see this shit.
The shit heat.
Yes!
It's immaculate.
They got the transformations. Yes! I fucking love it.
My Little Pony.
Oh shit. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all of them. So, all right. Well, that was the Batman podcast review. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Jaden. Thank you, Mia, for participating. This is I hope they have something for the future. I have hope for this franchise finally because it's DC and they don't really have a history with it, but I am ready for what comes in the future. So again, thank you all, and I will see you all in the next podcast.
Bye.
Bye.